I think it's important for people to look at the big picture. I think for many years what we've been doing is segmenting and segregating different aspects of ourselves and focusing on them, and say just focusing on food, just focusing on fitness, and then wondering why we still don't feel complete and we still don't feel good in ourselves. So one of the biggest learnings for me on this journey personally was it's an inside out world. You know, it really is. I used to think it was an outside in world, and I tried to live that way, you know, trying to get people to value me or trying to get the next job to set my,
that's such a good point, an inside out world. Yeah. I never heard it described like that, but it's so true. So if you're not looking after yourself and if you're not valuing yourself first, nobody else will.
Oh, absolutely. And self-care for me is sitting with yourself and taking the time to go in and connect with yourself, because we all have an inner guidance system. We have just been taught either from a young age not to listen to it, not to trust it. So we don't, you know, we'll often hear go with your gut. Like never, ever, ever go against your gut. But we question our own gut instinct. Like our gut could be screaming at us and we'll be thinking, yeah, my gut's telling me something, but I'm still not sure. And it's like, no, if your gut's telling you something, that's what you need to do. That's what you need to align with, because that really is where we line up. It's our values and our ethos. And when we don't line up with ourselves, well, then things outside of us don't go well, because what's going on inside is a direct reflection of your world outside. So if your world outside is chaotic, it means in here is too. So the only way I always say, stop going outside completely. Take time to go within. The only way to do that is mindfulness and meditation. And meditation for me, having a form of practice, is becoming something, you know, all these buzzwords, mindfulness, meditation, authenticity, all these words, they don't mean anything unless they're put into practice. You can watch a million videos, you can read a million books, but you have to actually start living it for it to work.
So part of your everyday life?
Part of your everyday life.
See, I think the most challenging thing about your whole space is that people don't realize its benefits until they've actually done it. Yeah. And so trying to convince people who haven't done it that there's this greater world out there, if they only go through, quite to be honest, a structured, disciplined routine for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, that must be so difficult.
Yeah, and it's you know, we all want a quick fix. We live in a world of instant gratification, so everybody wants something that's going to work right now. Yeah. And unfortunately, quick fixes don't work. They are temporary solutions to permanent problems. So to really get into the crux of your problems and to really go in and do healing. So look, we all create misery and suffering in our lives every day, you know, part of our karma. And to go in and really heal that and make peace with ourselves and align with ourselves properly and live in an authentic space, we have to go inward and do the work with ourselves and on ourselves. It's really important.
It's so interesting, because as I've been doing these videos, we've been interviewing pretty much people in all different career paths, but very successful career paths. And the one pattern that's coming out across all of them is that you have to focus on yourself. Yeah. If you want to be big in, I suppose, a big successful kind of scale, you have to start with yourself on a massive basis. It's really, really interesting.
And it's something that we're not taught to do from a very young age, and it's something in the Western world that we're not taught to value ourselves, you know, and self-care gets confused as selfish or vain or any of these things. But really only when you know yourself and you like yourself and when you are complete within yourself can you really give anything to others or be of value to the world. Yeah. And when you know your purpose and when you sit into yourself, when we go back to authenticity, lining up with your authenticity is never ever doing things because other people say you should do them or because society says you should do them. And this is something that people are being asked to do. They're asked to wake up now and line up with their authenticity. And that might mean siding with the 3% of people and not the 97% of people. Yeah. Which can make the habit of lining up with yourself very, very difficult, because sometimes it means going against the grain. You know, if something really doesn't align with your value and ethos, it means making a decision that might not be the popular one, but it's the right decision for you. And I think this is a really interesting learning that's happening in the world at the moment.
Figuring out what the right path is.
Yeah, you know, it's really kind of sitting into yourself. Like what I would do if I have a question or a difficult situation or a job I'm not sure about, I will always sit in meditation. Sit, get quiet, go within and ask the question. And if I feel any kind of sensation that's uncomfortable, I know that it's not lining up with me. There's something about it that's not right for me. That might sound way out there and cuckoo to a lot of people, but this is your inner guidance system. Like your body's always speaking to you. You're working really with the law of nature, with what science backs up now, So it really is kind of getting in tune with that and starting to listen. like really, really starting to listen. And that's the only way to true peace and happiness. I mean, we talk about happiness, we talk about peace, we talk about all of these things, but the only way to true peace and happiness is lining up with yourself and living your true calling and living on purpose with your purpose. It's the only way.